Hello everyone and welcome to I am MS Excel Expert tutorial series. Today is day 20 and we will be working on data validation. So let's start. So under data validation we have three functionality. The first one is data validation, the second one is circle invalid data, and the third one is clear validation circles. So as the name goes, in the first one we allowed to do two things. One is we do not allow user to input any invalid inputs. In the second one, we allow user to actually select the values from the drop down list which we have created for them. The second functionality, which is circle invalid data, we will actually circle the invalid data which user has inputted, and the third one we will clear those circles using which we have created using the second functionality. So let's have a quick exercise on it. Before we have this exercise, let me tell you where we can have the data validation option in Excel. So if you go to the home ribbon, we have something called data ribbon as well there. Click there and then we have something called data tools subsection here. There you can find data validation. So if you click on this drop down, we have three functionalities here. The first one is data validation, which I just explained. The second one is circle invalid data, and the third one is clear validation circles. So we will be utilizing all three functionalities in this video. So let's start. So here we have a small exercise where we'll be utilizing our data validation skills to actually validate this set of information. So let's do first for the whole number. So in this particular column, I want users to actually input just the whole number, and if they are trying to feed in any number which is not a whole number, I want to give them a kind of a warning, but still I want them to feed in. And after that, when we will be reviewing this particular entry, and we will be utilizing another functionality to actually circle out all the invalid inputs. So in nutshell, like whatever we have which is not whole number will be circled out, and then we will utilize the third functionality to clear those circles so that we can rectify those errors. So let's start. I'll go back to data validation here. The moment I click on data validation, we have small pop-up over here. In the settings sections, we have a list here which we can use. So for example, you are looking for the whole number, we can select whole number, and I want to write any data which is between, let's say, 1 to 100. And then we have something called input message. So this we can utilize to tell people that this particular section is for whole number. So the moment I write here that please write only whole numbers, or you can say please input only whole numbers, and then we have error alert. So we can either stop them, and if they are making, if user is trying to make any invalid entries, so if user is trying to feed in some decimal number, so we can just stop them. But I want to utilize another functionalities as well. So let's give them a warning here that this is not an input number, so not a whole number. So I'll write the title input is not whole number, right? So we can just write that, and we can just tell them in a message saying that please input whole number, right? And say okay. Now if I go there, first of all we are not able to see the whole number input. I'll just go back there, try to see what is happening here. So okay, I'll write the same thing over here as well and say okay. Now you can see here, whenever I'm actually on any of the cell, we have a information that please input only whole numbers here. So we can just write those whole numbers. So for example, if I'm trying to write, let's say 2, that's still okay because that's a whole number. If I'm trying to write a decimal, let's say 2.34, it should give me a warning, but still let me have the input here. So then we have the warning here that the input is not a whole number, please input whole number. If I want to still continue, I can say yes, it will let me have my input there, but we can find out this error using another functionality. Let's write 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and let's say I write my name here as well. So this is again a whole not a whole number, but still I want to have it so that I can utilize the another functionality where the function will help us to find out all the invalid entries. So let me go there and try to circle those invalid data. Now the moment I click there, we have two circles here. That means these two entries are not valid. So if I go there and just say write 13, it will go off. The circle is go off because now this 13 is a whole number. Nishant is obviously a text, which is not a whole number. Oh, let me write here 5 and it will go off. For example, I still have here Nishant and I still want to continue, and let's say I have here 2.34. right now if I click all the invalid data to be circled, then we have these two, and if I want to clear them, then I can use the third functionality. That is, now I know that these two values are invalid, but still I want to continue, so I can just okay ignore them, and then okay now those circles are gone, right? The same we have decimal here, so we can just select this range, go there, data validation, let's say decimal. I want to have decimal from let's say 12.12 to 15.15. So that's the range which I want to have, and again do not stop, just give us a warning here and just say okay. If I'm trying to write 12.13, it should be feed in. If I'm trying to write let's say 13.13, it should again be fitted in, and if I'm trying to write let's say 1, which is not obviously a decimal, it should give me a warning, and then I still want to continue, say yes, it should be there. And same way I can go to let's say 14.14, 15.15. If I make 16.16, that would again an invalid entry. It should give me a warning. Again, still I want to continue, I can say okay. So let's use the second functionality on this much information as well. So it will circle all the invalid ones. So these are the entries which are invalid, but still I want to continue. You can just ignore them, clear validation circles. Then we have something called list over here. So till now we have given user a kind of a restriction where we do not want people or the user to feed in other than specific information. Here we can give a list here to the user that select from that list only. So you can just go there, select the list. I want let's say either yes, no, or don't know, right? I say hit enter. So now we have a drop down here where we have three information from where three things from where we can choose any. So if I want to choose yes, if I want to choose no, if I want to choose don't know, I can choose like that, right? If I'm trying to make any invalid entry, for example my name, it is not allowing me, so I can just say cancel and then choose anything which I have in the list, right? Same goes for the date here, but date has a different format. So date is this, I want a date. So since I'm from India, and in India we have a different format of date. So we have first the date, and then we have the month, and then the year. So the day would be, let's say I want to have the restriction from let's say 1/1/2019 till let's say 31/12/2019, right? Oh sorry, it should be 12, right? And I say okay. Now if I'm trying to write anything which is let's say 12 let's say 29/1/2019, so it should be feeding. If I'm trying to feed in let's say which is not in the range which you have selected, let's say something from 2018, let's say I'm trying to write 25/8/2018, it's an invalid entry because it's outside our defined range of the date, so it should not be allowed. So I'll say cancel, and then I'll try to write let's say 12/5/2019. We can always write 6/8/2019, so like that, right? Same goes for time. Again we can always define time here, and so for example I want to define a time from 1 to let's say 23 hours, and it should not allow me to have anything after 23 hours. So let me write here let's say 2 hours, so it should be feed in. If I'm trying to write anything beyond 23 hours, let's say even 1 minute, it should not allow me to actually have this input. So that's right. So let's write 23 hours. It should be feed in. So like that we can have, let's say 9 hours, 12 hours, right? Now another one, we have something called text length, where we can define the length of the text. So we can always have anything which has the length which we are going to define here. So for example, 7 to 17 I can have a length. For example, if I'm trying to write hello here, which has a length of 5, it should not it should not be allowed to have this particular input over here. So again, yeah, it's not allowing us. If I make this hello with extra O, which will fall under the range of 7 to 17 text length, so that would be allowed, right? Because now it has a 9 length, so that's why. So if I'm trying to write my name, which has a length of 7, so that would be feed in. So if I'm trying to write, let's say, somebody else's name which has length of less than 7, that would not be allowed, right? So that's it, guys, for today's session. In the next session we will utilize this functionality of data validation with VLOOKUP function. Thank you so much for your support and love. Keep spreading love, and please share these videos with your friend and family members who wanted to become an expert in MS Excel. And I guess that's it. Thank you.